everybody, it's Monday, and you know what that means. It's time for me to gift 5 more memberships to try and match the generosity that you guys display every day. So here we go. I'm going to do it. Let's see here. 5 memberships. I do it every Monday or every first stream of the week. Here we go. Here they come. Woohoo! Michael just gifted 20 memberships. My goodness, that's so nice of you. Hey, Brad Beat. And I saw your comment there, Brad Bresson. That was very kind of you. Let's see here. I don't feel bad about being a little late to the stream. I mean, I'm about like 5 minutes late. You know, it happens. So we got a lot of fun stuff to go over today. We've got 3 great stories. And then, of course, as always, the final 10 minutes of the stream will be dedicated to an Ask Me Anything portion of the stream. I'm glad you like my blouse, Blad. I wore green today because I'm reviewing Loki. Loki Season 2, the social media embargo lifts at midnight. My tweet is locked and loaded. And then the review embargo lifts at 9 a.m. tomorrow. So my review is going to be all set to go. Steve, congrats on your new job. That's awesome. Congrats to you. All right, so Shahar, your son is right to be excited about Loki, although it's a little adult Season 2, quite frankly. So I don't know how old your son is. Okay, all right, so again, just a quick reminder as to how the live streams work. Please keep your comments to the topic at hand. And if we're not in the section of each story where I'm asking for questions and comments, I may or may not be able to address your question. Even I'm afraid if it's look at all. I was wondering why you guys were doing bees. It's for Beyonce. Beehive assemble. But I might not be able to get to your comment, even if it's a super chat. I'm sorry to say. But then save those non sequiturs for the Q&A, and then as always I'll do a couple shout outs at the end. I have a hard out at around 4:30 though, so let's get going. Oh, buzz it up, baby, buzz it up. All right, so on that note, let's talk Beyonce. All right, story number 1. Boop, or in this case, buzz. Right? Beyonce. Everybody thought she was going to enter the arena to compete with Taylor Swift. And here she is. It was announced very late last night. It was, the rumor had dropped over the weekend. The trades had gotten wind of it. But it was officially announced that Beyonce, I believe she did it, Kansas City, right? Her final tour, her final live stop of the Renaissance tour, which I believe people pointed out was near the AMC offices, their headquarters, which I thought was funny. But Beyonce, her concert ticket, the tickets, her concert movie, the tickets are now on sale if you'd like to attend. That will be coming out December 1st. So Taylor Swift comes out December 13th, right? 14th, right? I think, 14th, okay? Same weekend as New York Comic Con for some crazy reason. And then Beyonce is about a month and a half later. Is that enough space between the two of them? October 13th. I guess it starts on a Thursday. So here's the thing. December 1st is actually a really good date for Beyonce because Hollywood typically doesn't release any movies that weekend. They feel it's the weekend right after Thanksgiving. They feel they want you to go see all the movies they released for Thanksgiving, and they know you're getting ready for the holidays, right? So they know that you're still going crazy after Christmas. Maybe you didn't see the Thanksgiving movies because you were doing family holiday stuff then, so they want you to go then. Stuff like that, right? So that's why, no movie is set to come out December 1st, and that weekend is typically empty. But here comes Beyonce, right? She's like, yoink, I'll take it. But what's interesting is what could it potentially do to the premium screen situation? For instance, Taylor Swift is wreaking havoc on the release of Killers of the Flower Moon. Killers of the Flower Moon is, of course, taking over the IMAX screen, mostly IMAX screens, when it comes out 2 weeks later. Thanks, Cowboy Kush. However, in some cases, like Killers of the Flower Moon will have to split its Dolby screens with Taylor Swift. It's not great for the Martin Scorsese movie. I got to be honest with you. It's not great for that film. So what's going to happen with Beyonce's film, right? Oh, it's my pleasure, Cowboy Kush, to cover Beyonce. She's Queen Bee, Queen Bey. All right, so the Marvels and the Hunger Games prequel, I think that those films come out early enough that they're going to be okay. But Thanksgiving weekend is Wish and Napoleon. And those films are going to only have premium screens for 1 week, basically, before Beyonce comes in. So I think that's pretty bad, particularly for Napoleon. Wish, do you need to see it on a big screen? Maybe, okay? But Napoleon looks like, it's supposed to be this visual masterpiece, and there go all its premium screens 1 week later. So if you don't see Napoleon Thanksgiving weekend, you're going to have, it's going to really suck for you. I don't really know if Trolls needs to be seen on a premium screen. I appreciate some of your enthusiasm about Trolls, but I don't really know if Trolls is like a premium screen movie. And also, I think that Wonka comes out December 15th. I think that's far enough out that that'll be okay. So this is really just a problem primarily for Napoleon. Sacre bleu. Here comes Queen Bey. Oh, thank you, Jacques Thompson, for gifting a membership. That's right, Mika. Nobody really seems to care about Napoleon, and this certainly isn't going to help. Now, like Taylor Swift, let's bring Taylor up here. Here she is. Oh, there's the Taylor Swift movie. These tickets are non-refundable. I've given Taylor a lot of money. I might not even go. I was very enthusiastic when the tickets went on sale, but now that things are starting to pick up again, and that's a very busy weekend for me, I'm like, I don't know if I want to sit through a 3-hour movie. I'm sorry. But Taylor gets to keep my money because I can't get my tickets back. I would be curious when you go to see these concert movies, I'll be curious to see how many empty seats there are. I mean, it's good for them, but I wonder what will do to the experience. Like if you go and there aren't, there might be some people not there because either they just decided not to go or because they picked another screening. I actually have tickets for like 3 screenings because I was trying to get better seats and better times as they expanded how many there were. I don't think you can second sell your tickets. I don't think that works that way. Also, at AMC it's not A-list. That's right. Oh, I guess I could. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm not sure. But yeah, I think I'll be curious to see what it's like when you actually get into the theater. Now, like Taylor Swift, Beyonce is also releasing hers personally. And that really goes to show you how the business has changed thanks to the digital era. For instance, before, if you wanted to release a film, you needed a film print. So Beyonce and Taylor Swift, that would be very complex to make the print, to ship the print out. Now all they have to do is send a digital file to the theaters, and I'm sure AMC is more than happy to tell them what the requirements are. And then also advertising. You used to have the whole movie system set up for you, and you'd have to go through traditional advertising. You'd have to go through the networks, and you'd have to book talk show spots. I mean, these women could certainly do it themselves, but it would help to have the studio publicity machine behind you. Not today. They both have Twitter and social media accounts with millions of followers. Beyonce and Taylor Swift are more than capable of advertising things for themselves. The difference between the two films seems to be that Taylor Swift's is almost a direct recreation of the tour experience, whereas Beyonce is going to take you behind the scenes and show you how she came up with it, her process for creating all the looks and the dance moves and the rehearsals, and she's directing it herself. That's her poster right there. Let me bring that up there so you can see it a little better. Oh, no, I can't. Oh, sorry. I think her poster, by the way, is medium. I don't think Beyonce's poster is as good. It has a little bit more of the Michael Jackson flair to it. It's more artistic, but it doesn't really tell you for sure what you're seeing. It's not like Beyonce. Like when you look at the Taylor Swift poster, you're like, oh yeah, going to see Taylor Swift in concert, but at a movie theater. I feel like that would be better if that were what the Beyonce poster was like. Now, this is very interesting to me, right? So these next comments are directed at both the Beyonce and Taylor Swift concert movies. AMC has really spearheaded this because they want to look for a different way to utilize their theaters, particularly as more and more people are streaming at home. They're like, okay, well, what do you want to see in a theater? So now the idea is how can we recreate the concert experience at the movie theater, right? Is that a good substitute? If you can't afford or get tickets to see these concerts live and they're not always available near you, will it be as rewarding to go to your local multiplex and experience the movie that way, particularly with these new premium screens and sound systems? Now, I'm curious. We've heard of some crazy behavior in theaters these days, so I wonder what could potentially happen in a concert scenario where people want to stand up, move around, and act out. The passiveness of watching a movie, I think, kind of is helpful to some degree. So I think that is also going to be very interesting to see how that works out, right? But here's where I think it gets very interesting. And also 3 hours. 3 hours. Okay, I'll ask you if you're going to go and see these things. Okay, hold on. And by the way, again, anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member. Only members can participate in the chat, but anyone can vote in a poll. Are you seeing these concert movies? Taylor Swift, we'll put her first because she was first. Taylor Swift, Beyonce, both, and then neither. I mean, eventually they'll be on digital, I'm assuming. Also, the time really kind of put me off, to be honest with you. I was like, that is an extremely long time. And also, I'm still a little nervous about COVID. And people singing. Like, I'm okay going to movies because people don't talk during a movie. And so there's less air moving around the theater. And even then, after I eat my food, I still put a mask on now. But like in a theater where everybody's singing and dancing and shouting and talking, that makes me a little nervous. So, I mean, if you're going to this, I would definitely consider, if you're not recently vaccinated, putting a mask on. But here's the other question. What will it be like at the venue? What will it be like at the movie theater, right? Trace, that's incredible. Purchased 10 tickets in IMAX for my friend group at midnight this morning. Saw the tour twice. That's cool. That's another way to re-experience it, which is really interesting, right? So what will it be like at the multiplex if you're even not going to see this movie, right? Like let's say you're like, oh, I didn't see Wish and Napoleon, or I'm going to go see Killers of the Flower Moon while Taylor Swift is playing. What's it going to be like when I show up at the theater, right? I mean, think about how Barbie affected the theatrical experience. There were huge groups of people going to see Barbie, all dressed up, taking pictures, and that was just kind of like a small-scale concert movie. This will be like you're going to have people who are going to watch something passively in the same space as people who are going to watch something actively. That, to me, could be pretty crazy. So what's it going to be like in the concession area, right? And then also, what's it going to be like if the theater is next door to you? These movies will be loud, and then the audience will be singing out loud at the top of their lungs. So if you're sitting in Wish or Napoleon right next door, or Killers of the Flower Moon next to Taylor Swift, what's that going to do to you? I mean, that would make me very nervous. Colby says, as a theater employee, I'm so nervous for these movies. We constantly ran out of stuff during Barbenheimer. That's right. When I went to see Oppenheimer, I said, I'd like a small popcorn. And they said, sorry, we're sold out of the small popcorn bucket. You can only you can only have this giant one. And I was like, I didn't mind because I was like, that's funny that you're only, you're sold out because everything's so popular. But I don't know how amusing it would be the second time around. And then also, what happens when these movies let out? When a concert movie lets out, is everyone going to be having a great time and giggling and laughing? And then you're going to be sitting in Napoleon and Killers of the Flower Moon being like, what the heck is happening outside the theater right now? I mean, these are the things that just make me a little bit nervous. We'll see how it works out. We'll see. And I think that the people who are going to see these movies really won't care because they're there to have a great time. And that's great for the theater, but again, I wonder how movies and concert movies can coexist at this level, right? So we'll see. I think that's just going to be very interesting. So while people are still voting, does anybody have any questions or comments? And then we'll go on to the next story. Oh, let's see here. Cowboy Kush says, Grace, what are you going to call your fan base, like the Bayhive? I nominate the Beyonders. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if we're at the level yet. I appreciate it. I appreciate that. That's not a bad choice. Tribute of District 13 says, seeing the Eras Tour in cinema might ruin my experience when I see Taylor live next June. I already saw Beyonce this year, so the movie won't be ruined. If you're actually going to go see the show, I would maybe, if you're going to see it live, I maybe wouldn't see it in theaters because you want to experience it for the first time live, considering how much, I'm sure those tickets are far more expensive. Let's see here. Oh, Writer Boy, thank you for gifting a membership. You know, part of me was too asked that. Danny says, is there a way for you to review these concert movies? I was tempted, but then I realized I'd have to sit through like a 3-hour concert movie. And I just, as I explained, I don't really know if that's for me. So I don't think that I'm going to review them. Let's see here. I mean, I wish I could be part of the party, but, you know, Yair Salgado says, I'm from Mexico, and I find it shocking that we've never had a concert showing at the theater for years before in the USA, because we've had them for years in Mexico. It's not that big of a deal. Also, sports events. You know, but you know, do you have like sporting events in the multiplex? Is that what you're saying? Would people eventually maybe go and watch a game at a movie theater, right? Would you go do that? But I mean, part of the game is getting up and walking around and going and getting more food, right? So are you going to leave the theater and go out and get some more popcorn and come back in, you know? I went to a Steelers game like last year in Pittsburgh, and that was funny. There was a guy who was so drunk that he was looking for a seat and he was in the wrong row. We were like, this isn't your row. Like aisle. He was in the whole wrong aisle. And he was looking around and he'd clearly been overserved. I don't know why they did this to him, but he was like, he had like beer he was bringing back to his group, and he was spilling the beer all over the floor. And everybody was trying to help him, being like, your beer's spilling. This guy, totally oblivious, because he just, you know, I was surprised that he was able to get more beers, quite frankly. Let's see here. MM92 says, Grace, do you know how the budget versus profits breakdowns is for concert movies versus regular movies? I'm not quite sure, but I'm sure it's very advantageous to these two women, which is why they're doing it. I mean, also, and that these do well. Oh yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I forgot to say this part. I applaud Beyonce, but I mean, like, boy, this could, like, I would be nervous to go up against Taylor Swift because Taylor Swift is just at her most powerful she's ever been. I mean, and she's like, Taylor Swift is like Michael Jackson levels right now. Like, she's just so insanely popular. How popular is she? She's dating, obviously, Travis Kelce, which is keeping her in the news, and the NFL is co-opting Taylor Swift to try and expand their own audience. Briefly today, their social media accounts for the NFL featured Taylor Swift and her slogans, which I think was a step too far. I'm like, I think this is getting out of control. Isn't this like a personal relationship? Like, why is it being used? Is it a personal relationship? It's starting to make me feel like it's a publicity thing that they've instead come up with to promote Taylor Swift's movie in the NFL. But it's working. And so Taylor Swift's movie is expected to open with $100 million opening weekend. And I'm sure Beyonce will show up. I'm sure the Bayhive is going to be there. But one of these movies is going to open bigger. And I worry, if I were Beyonce's manager, I'd be like, what if it's not you? What if it's not you, Bay? What if Taylor Swift opens bigger than you? What are you going to do? I mean, I just think like, it's just, I would be nervous. I'd be just really nervous to go up against that. Let's see here. Justin says Beyonce has released other concert films in theaters before. This isn't her first time. She's been planning since 2022 and will include behind-the-scenes footage. That's right, Justin. But that also means, like, how did those other concerts do? That also gives Beyonce a bit of a handicap against Taylor Swift because this isn't, you know, she's missing the newness factor. It's very nerve-wracking. I'd be very nervous. Think Noodles says, hey, Grace, they have boxing fights at movies. Just this weekend they played the Canelo fight, 3 hours. Maybe they could expand into other sports. Yeah, some of you were just saying, what about the Super Bowl? Juan Carlos said in Mexico you could see the Super Bowl in the theater. I think that's not a bad idea. Part of me feels like maybe these should be separate venues or they should be in a separate part of the multiplex. I'm not sure how to handle this. Guy Ty says, can the studio sue for the way these concert movies are conflicting with their movies? They can kill a lot of box office success. They can't sue, and I don't think that they have like a lot of because the movie studios have pushed streaming so much. They don't really have a leg to stand on when it comes to going up against the theaters, because the theaters are going to say, you're prioritizing your own streaming services over us, so we have to look out for us. So what are you going to do? You know, right now, Killers of the Flower Moon is only expected to open with 24 million. So what kind of fight power does Paramount have to say, give me the bigger screen, when that's what the movie's expected to open with? I mean, that is pretty far. That's Taylor Swift's second weekend. But right now, she's taking it, like, I bought tickets for Killers of the Flower Moon, and I couldn't go on the biggest screen at the multiplex I'm going to because Taylor Swift's on that screen. And I was like, that's crazy. And I would have liked to have seen Killers of the Flower Moon on a really big screen. But it's not going to happen for me. It's rough out there. Scorsese's like, what new horror is this? You know, that's so funny. Scorsese thought Marvel was a problem. He hadn't even considered Taylor Swift causing a problem for him. Oh, Troy, that sounds like an exciting endeavor. Good luck to you. Let me see. I have a couple other super chats here. Cowboy Kush says, Grace, Beyonce is doing worldwide. That's true, Cowboy Kush, but so is Taylor. Innovative David says, happy Monday. Happy Monday to you too. Thank you. Thank you so much. My favorite queen talking about my other favorite queen. Also, my vote for your fan base is Grace Gang or Gracie's. Oh, those are fun too. I like that, Gracie's. I like that. That's fun. I love Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Mad respect for both of them. Lloyd Lester says, let's not forget about Mariah Carey. I have some friends who went to the Mariah Carey Christmas concert last year, and they said it was incredible. Although it was pretty crazy. They showed me pictures of people just walking around. I was like, what's happening? Is this a concert or like a convention? But yeah, Mariah. Mariah is the OG. And of course, Madonna, right? I mean, it's not anything new. Amanda says, Grace, you're awesome, but comparing Taylor to Michael Jackson right now when Beyonce is Beyonce, come on. I'm sorry. I love Beyonce. I love Beyonce so much. I was actually just watching the Single Ladies music video the other day, and I was like, you know, I think Kanye had a bit of a point. Although I was looking into it, and they were like, Beyonce won a different award the same night, but still. I mean, I'm glad that, you know, some of it seemed a little orchestrated to me, but that's one of the greatest music videos of all time, Single Ladies, like 1,000%. But I have to say, what we're talking about right now, Taylor Swift mania, is like Beatlemania. And I think that this is just not where Beyonce is right now. I think partially because they're in the same space, you know? It's crazy what's going on with Taylor Swift. I mean, the way she's able to increase interest in anything she even thinks about is just incredible. I mean, you have to look no further than the NFL being like, let's put Taylor Swift all over our social media accounts. I mean, did you see the jump in Travis Kelce jersey sales? I mean, it's 400%, I think. How about people know who Travis Kelce is now, outside of football fans? I mean, that's incredible. I hope he went into this relationship for the right reasons. Part of me thinks he's just trying to get a career boost out of it. Johnny says Beyonce is way more Michael. A lot of Beyonce fans are upset. I could not say enough good stuff about Beyonce. I'm just talking about right now. Jose says, one thing about Beyonce is she does not care about numbers, much to the annoyance of us, her fans, so as long as we all have fun, then it's all good. That's great. I'm glad she doesn't care about numbers. That's going to take a lot of stress off of her. You Beyonce fans, I got to say, the Beehive is impressive. Let's see here. I saw another comment there. Hold on. Hey, Grace, Beyonce doesn't need the gimmicks like the Taylor-Travis relationship. Taylor makes music for more or so one demographic, to be honest. Love both. That's true. But I mean, you can't argue with the revenue that Taylor Swift is bringing in. Beyonce is, I think, certainly a level above Taylor Swift when it comes to like music royalty, for sure. But, you know, don't underestimate the power of gimmicks. Let's see here. I will say that what the Beehive did for that person with disabilities whose wheelchair couldn't go, I read that story. That was an incredible story. I hope that guy is featured in the documentary because that was a wonderful thing that they did for him. Trey says, we've talked about 4-quadrant films, and I'd be interested to hear your thoughts on Bey versus Taylor in that sense. Seems like Bey has a clear lead on wide demographic appeal. See Black Panther. That's a tough one, Trace. I don't know. I think they both have wide appeal, as you can see from the sales of their tickets to their concerts. I think that I think, let's look at the poll though, right? I mean, I think a concert ticket still is not totally sold on people, right? So the poll says that 47% are not even like planning to go. So 50% of people aren't going to see either one. I'm so glad that Beyonce won the vote here, 29%. Taylor Swift coming in with just 13%. I do think that Taylor Swift will open extremely big, and then I think that she'll drop substantially from then on out. And I feel that Taylor Swift is planning to play her concert for too long. I would have done 2 weekends, period. I even personally would have done 1 weekend, like a concert. It's an event. You see Taylor Swift opening weekend or you wait for digital. That's what I would have done. I think multiple weekends is a bad idea. And then 10% of you are going to both, but that's good. Xtina says the Beehive and Swifties are cults. That's funny. But yeah, every major star needs to have, that kind of foundation to really be a huge star. Mike says, should Hollywood throw all the money they have at Taylor Swift to star in her own movie franchise? No, Taylor Swift can't act. I'm very sorry. I love Taylor Swift. Love her. She's also a great director. But she is an awful actress. It's the one thing she can't do. Cowboy Kush says, Grace, did you see that Beyonce increased AMC's stock? I did not, but that's fantastic. Reese, I really loved Black is King. I thought it was great, but I don't know how big the entertainment value was for it, but artistically, I thought it was very impressive. David says, surprisingly, both have generated similar amounts in terms of revenue for the U.S. economy. Beyonce nearly matched the Olympics. That's true. Beyonce should get out here more. You guys are a better PR team for Beyonce than she is. I think that Taylor Swift has made a lot of headlines, and I think that Beyonce should be fighting harder to make the same headlines. And be like, here's my box office. Here's what I brought into the economy. Thank you very much. I mean, Taylor Swift caused an earthquake. That was a good headline. Her fans caused an earthquake. Xavier says Beyonce is a celebrity to other celebrities. She is, but so's Taylor. You see who she was rolling with when she went to the Jets game last night? It made me feel she probably was Dazzler, as many people did. Ivan Sarmiento says, by the way, everybody, and I thought that your tweet about the reaction today was for Killers of the Flower Moon. Haha, I haven't seen Killers of the Flower Moon yet. I intentionally misdirected you with my choice. Let's see here. Beth says, neurodiverse brain here. I hate live big concerts. Too loud, uncomfortable seating, bad food. Prefer to watch concerts at home. Well, that's great, Beth. And I think that these movies eventually will also come to your home. You'll be able to watch them at home. All right, we're getting a little bit on the time here. Oh, Lisa, that's a good one. Adele on tour. I like Adele, but I don't know if Adele has the same energy factor. I think a Vegas residency is the right speed for Adele. That's true, Stephen Turner. Beyonce's past her blow up, and now she wants to also have her own private life. Tammy says, why do we always have to pit women against each other? They are both super talented and smart. It doesn't have to be either or. That's true, Tammy, and they are both winners. But at the end of the day, someone's going to have a bigger box office number than the other one, and there's nothing that can be done about that, unfortunately. That's just a harsh truth of life. Someone's bigger. It's just the way it is. Look at Anthony's let's get to the next story. Let's see here. Stephen says it's important to know. So December 1st is an important date for Beyonce. That's great. I'm very happy about that. Lisa says Beyonce and Taylor should team up for a joint tour. Lisa, that's a real nice idea. A little bit like how Tom Cruise and Greta Gerwig were very supportive, and Margot Robbie were very supportive of, the movies coming out then. They were like, go see all of them. Go see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. Go see Barbie. Go see Oppenheimer. And then nobody went to see Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning. But it would be really nice if Beyonce and Taylor Swift did some kind of appearance to each other. I think that would be really nice. And I think that would be a really good way to speak to it not being one or the other and not a versus. I think that would be really nice for them to just kind of some kind of tweet. It doesn't have to be a huge thing, but just a little something like, I'm excited about your concert and I'm excited about your concert. I think that would be a nice move. I think that would be nice. All right, so that's the first story of the day. Now let's move on to the next one. Thanks, Adriana. All right. Story number 2. Here it comes. Boop. Ooh, Elon Musk. He really wanted to be the center of attention, and he's getting his wish. So I saw a headline today that I thought was pretty interesting, and that's that there's an Elon Musk documentary that's being made. It's called Musk, which sounds a lot like Mank, that movie David Fincher made for Netflix that nobody watched. It was not very good. But anyway, it's supposed to be an unvarnished look at Elon Musk's life. And it's from the guy, Alex Gibney, who did Enron's, You Got Me, Sun Moon, you beat me to the punch. I was like, who should play Elon? It should be Lars Mikkelsen, because I agree, he looks just like Elon Musk. So we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, right? But first off, this is a documentary. It's from Alex Gibney, who did Enron, the smartest guys in the room, okay? So HBO already has the documentary film rights to this for North American streaming and TV rights. So this is definitely going to air on HBO at some point. However, HBO, I guess, should have sewn up the theatrical rights because those are still available, and Universal is looking at picking this up to play the documentary in theaters. And then I guess it would play on HBO after that. That would really suck for HBO if it wasn't a debut, right? So my feeling, though, is I think this is the first steps to a movie. So let's bring back Lars Mikkelsen in here. I think this is the first steps to doing a movie about Elon Musk, because that's usually the way it goes. Hollywood lets someone else do all the research and the heavy lifting, and then they base a movie off of that. And I do have to say that Elon Musk, of course, has led a very interesting life, for sure. Starting out with whatever company, what was it, PayPal, right? Making billions of dollars off of that, becoming a big person in Tesla, the face of Tesla. Then SpaceX, basically taking over the space exploration program for the United States, because they don't have the money to do it government-wise. Then, of course, he went over and took Twitter, renamed it X, and things have gotten just crazy after that. And he's become very strong in the political space and has revealed himself to be somewhat of a MAGA person. He's like a very strong, let's just say he's an extremely strong conservative. And his personal life is also nuts. So I think that, at some point, will they make a movie? And there's a history for this, right? They made The Social Network, of course, about Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg survived that, right? Partially because he went up against Elon Musk. How interesting is that it took Elon Musk to make Mark Zuckerberg look better when they potentially were going to fight. And everyone was like, wow, Mark Zuckerberg genuinely is a mixed martial arts fighter. And so that kind of turned everybody onto, and Zuckerberg met Elon Musk head on, and everybody was kind of like, oh, he became the cooler of the two. All right, I'll do a poll, Adam, okay? And again, anyone can vote in a poll. You don't have to be a member. So would you watch the Elon Musk story? It should be even-handed. I think it needs to be even-handed. I wouldn't want to go too far in either direction. I wouldn't want it to be too complimentary, but I wouldn't want it to be so vilifying him that it overlooked the things that he actually has done. All right, so would you watch the Elon Musk story? The documentary, a movie, right? A biopic, which is AKA a movie. Both. Maybe you can't get enough Elon Musk. And then get it away from me. There we go. There's the poll. Okay. And then, of course, you might recall they made a Steve Jobs movie, which, by the way, I thought was very unfair to Steve Jobs. I felt very bad about this film. I thought it was pretty good. I thought Michael Fassbender's performance was excellent, but I thought they got too involved in his personal relationship with his daughter. And they really kind of used that to undercut everything that Steve Jobs accomplished. And I'm like, well, this seems pretty one-sided to me. And I feel like, I don't really know how Steve Jobs felt about his daughter because he passed away. And I don't really think it's fair to say, who cares what he accomplished business-wise? Look at the horrible relationship he had with his daughter. So I was like, I don't know. So anyway, I'll be curious to see, what comes of this and if there is any interest, part of me would want to maybe know the story, but then also part of me wouldn't want to give any attention to this because that's the whole reason that Elon Musk does everything that he does, for attention. Let's see here. While you're voting, does anybody have any questions about this? The poll looks not good for. Maybe I wouldn't make a movie. I'd be like, let's do some polling because this looks bad. Netflix visionary. That's a great place for this. But maybe they're hoping that it would do very well on Max. People love this sensational stuff. Look how well the Johnny Depp documentary and the Murdoch murders documentary have been doing on Netflix. Yeah, whelmed. He sure loves the letter X for some reason. Isn't one of his kids named X too? All right, let's end the poll. No, it's not good. 72% say get it away from me. Oh, that's strong. 13% would be maybe watch the documentary. 7% would watch both. While only 6% would be interested in a movie. Yeah, maybe it's too early. I think it's right. I do feel that people are kind of upset with billionaires right now, particularly after the strikes in Hollywood. Being upset with Zaslav and Iger. I agree. I think it's a little tough right now. Thank you for reminding me to have a drink of water, Nail. Look at everybody thanking Michael for the membership. You guys are sweet. So does anybody have any questions about this? I think it's pretty set. Oh, thanks for the time update, Just Josh. Brian Brown says, unfortunately, most people won't care until he's dead. Well, I think because he's made himself such a lightning rod, I think, and also because he's so interested in the attention. I think that's a little bit what makes this complex. Oh, Optimus, I'm sorry work is interrupting your stream. All right, I think we're ready for the next story. I know some people are trying to fast forward, but there are no questions for it, so let's move on. All right. Let's go. Third story of the day. I like this one. Boom, baby. All right, who is this woman? Well, if you don't know, I hope that you will after we talk, or maybe you do if you've been paying attention to my videos. This is Akela Cooper. Akela Cooper is a screenwriter who is really doing well. Now, this is a great day. Today's stream in particular, today in Hollywood, is a great day for black women in Hollywood. Black women in Hollywood have classically had a difficult time. Just because listen to any Viola Davis interview. Look how hard it is for Lupita Nyong'o to get work, despite being an Oscar-winning actress. Black women have had a tough time in front of and behind the camera. So it's so cool to see people like Beyonce doing so well. And then also, this is particularly exciting to see Akela Cooper becoming a really successful screenwriter in Hollywood. And what's particularly exciting about it is that what happens when you're a very successful screenwriter is that you usually graduate to directing. So the way Akela Cooper's star is rising, I wouldn't be surprised if she was directing very soon. So the reason Akela Cooper is that's right, Tiff, with Angela Bassett losing out on the Oscar last year. It's tough out there. It's very, very difficult. But Akela Cooper, of course, wrote Megan. Before that, she had written Malignant, and she also wrote The Nun 2, which is doing extremely well in theaters, as we just discussed yesterday on Movie Math. So she's been around for a while, but she really seems to have found her breakout genre with horror. She's doing very, very well in that space, and she's currently writing Megan 2. But today, she got a new gig outside of James Wan's empire, and that's over at Sony, because Sony they just won the bid for a short story called It's Over. And Akela Cooper got the deal to adapt this short story into a screenplay. And I do wonder, since they didn't announce a director, if maybe she might get to direct this. I don't know if they'll let her direct this. I mean, they paid a lot of money for this. They might want to be like, well, we really want a big name director. Maybe if I could get big stars for her, I'd see if she could direct. But if she doesn't direct on this picture, I think you'll see Akela Cooper direct in the next year or so, because she's just becoming too hot as a screenwriter. And I mean, good for her. I'm so happy for her. And I think one of the reasons that she's successful is that while, for instance, she brought in Storm Reed as a character of color into The Nun 2, okay, she still is not, I think that Akela Cooper is not just writing for like a limited space. I think Akela Cooper wants to operate on a 4-quadrant level or cast as big a net as possible. So while she did diversify the Nun franchise, she didn't totally shift its demographics. And Megan could have used a character of color. But, I don't know how Akela Cooper was involved in that. But Akela Cooper wrote a brilliant screenplay for Megan. And, Malignant, I don't really think Malignant had a lot of... there was the detective who was an Asian actor. But, we'll see. I think her first big move was probably bringing Storm Reed into The Nun 2. And I thought she did an incredible job with that. But yeah, so this is very exciting. And the way that diverse talent can do the best is if diverse talent can take on any gig. For instance, speaking of women of color, if you pay attention to who directed House of the Dragon Season 1, it was a lot of women of color, by the way. And they did an incredible job and knocked that season out of the park. So kudos to them. That was very exciting in my opinion. So I think that's really, really great stuff. So let me tell you a little bit about this movie, which sounds pretty good. Lloyd, I'm not sure if this is for streaming or theatrical. Right now it seems theatrical, but you never know. Something could always end up going streaming. You never know for sure. Oh, that's right, Niall. They did have, what was it, Ronnie Chang, right? Was the CEO in Megan. That was fun. That was great. James Wan himself has worked very, very hard to bring in Asian roles to the films that he does, from his horror films to Aquaman. And I think that's really great. So anyway, this is a short story called It's Over. And it's about a longtime couple who are breaking up. So they've been together for a long time, so this hurts. This is a very bad breakup. And the movie is supposed to be part horror, part humor, and part social commentary. And the reason Akela Cooper got this gig was because that's the hat trick she pulled off for Megan. And I couldn't agree more. Megan was fantastic in being very scary, very funny, and very strong social commentary on parenting, on social media, on the digital world, the way it takes stuff over for us today. I thought that script was brilliant. So this is just perfect for Akela Cooper. I'm so glad that she got this. But it's really cool. It's exciting. I'm very, very happy for her, and I'll be curious to see. Keep an eye on this project because I think it's a big deal for her career. And I'm curious to see what she does next. All right, does anybody have any questions about this? Yeah, Ricardo, people are loving horror. It does very well. It's very cheap to make. Think about how inexpensive this movie's going to be. It's just a couple. It's going to be real cheap. I'm excited about it. Jico, I'm not sure who I would cast in the movie. I don't know. I'm not quite sure who's in. I don't know. I haven't seen the script. A lot of it depends on stuff like that. Bashenga the Eternal says, what's the main upskilling she'd need to move from screenwriting to directing? Well, writers move up to directing all the time, so she doesn't have to carve out a new path for herself. Really what she needs to do is she needs to get her hands on a script. Either the producer has to love Akela Cooper so much they say, you know what, Akela, why don't you direct it? But what's more likely to happen is for her to get a script that she either writes or, because she is a screenwriter, what usually happens is she'll write a screenplay herself. And I think Joshua Castillo, she would stay in horror because that's where she has a success factor. She'd be nuts to try to jump to a different genre to direct because people are, Hollywood wants you to do more of what you've been doing well. They don't want to roll the dice on you doing something else. Oh, thanks for gifting a membership, Brad. Hey, Can. Thanks for coming in. So what happens is that she'd have to write a new horror movie, and then she'd have to insist on directing it. She would have to put it out to the studio saying, okay, Akela's done some great scripts for you, huge success factor. Now she wants to direct. Who's interested in bidding on this project? And she would be attached out of the gate as the director. And it would hopefully be a horror movie that was extremely inexpensive. And if her agent, if she had a good agent, if they really wanted to back her up, they would put an actor on it, either a big actor or an up-and-coming actor, and put it together as a package to make it even more likable to the studios. And so the studios would go, oh, hey, look at that. Look at this package. I'll take that. I'll pick that up for what? Like, what's a $10 million movie? Love to do it. Oh, Lee, I'm glad you made the live stream. As told by Alex says, maybe she should be writing Blade. I bet she'd do a phenomenal job on Blade. But I think Blade is cursed, to be honest with you. Kit Harington got his stink on it. So what I would do if I were her, I agree. Somebody said don't get swallowed up by Marvel. I agree. I think she should just focus. Akela Cooper's doing well enough right now that she doesn't need Marvel. Look at what happened to Nia DaCosta. I mean, Nia DaCosta was such a hot commodity after Candyman, even though that movie actually turned out not to be particularly good. But visually, it was stunning. And now look what the Marvels has done to her career. I would be very nervous. I'd be like, let me go establish myself somewhere else first. That's right, Nick. Maybe the Marvels will be great. We don't know for sure. I like keeping hope alive. All right, I think it's 4:23 already. Let's get to the Ask Me Anything portion of the stream. CB Olsel. Oh, I can see there's some crossover in Beehive people and Marvels. All right, let's go to the Q&A. Hold on. That's funny, Sun Moon. I'm getting to you right now. Long-time listener, first-time caller. I just want to say that I appreciate your work, and you are a go-to for entertainment biz news. Thanks, Sun Moon. That's so nice. I'm glad you called in. Mr. Magic. Oh, you have a new picture too, Mr. Magic. Look at you, silver. Ooh. Oh, that's right, Kitty. Chloe Zhao had the same problem going to Marvel. She just won an Oscar. And now people are like, oh, Chloe Zhao. Let's see here. Whelm says, you're planning to make a film. Who decides whether it's for streaming or theatrical? And when during the process is that decided? That's a very good question, Whelmed. The studio decides. You get the best deal that you can. You always hope for theatrical. Or maybe sometimes if you're starting out, if you're low down in the totem pole, you shoot for what you think you can get. So you say, how about for a streaming movie? And the studio goes, I do need some streaming movies. Okay. That's what, and also you're very much, when are you pitching? What is being looked at for the time, for the time? Where is there an opening in the pitch space? You're very much, they say that success is, it's talent to a degree, but it's also timing. And to some degree, that's what luck means, right? Being at the right place at the right time. But the flip side of that is, where are you right now? You might not be at a great place or time for what you want to do. So you have to shift what you want to do to fit where you are. So that's important, I think, career advice. And then sometimes your movie could be theatrical or it could be streaming. And sometimes the studio changes their mind because they actually don't think it's that good, or they think it's even better than they thought. And so sometimes, you see, some movement even after it's been, decided. I think you don't know for sure until the thing actually is released. Jake Van Noren says, how do you feel about Loki Season 2 being only 6 episodes? They just announced it on their Instagram. I know it's only 6 episodes. I've seen the first 4. I couldn't believe they gave me 4. That's very unusual for Disney. That's all I'm going to say. But they're treating it differently, and I'm very happy that they are. And 4, the cliffhanger on 4. Wow, my God. All right, I was like, why only 4? Or why 4? Is that too many? Is that not enough? And then I was like, oh, I understand. Brian says, Grace, did you see the footage from the U2 concert at Sphere? Could this become a new theater experience? Maybe. I have a friend who's going to the Sphere in November, and so I'm excited for a first-hand account. It was weird to me how tiny U2 was at the bottom of the Sphere. But yet if you were close enough to see U2, then you couldn't see the graphics of the Sphere. So it's changing the game as to what the prime seat is. I was looking at the regular Sphere experience, and it seems in the middle is the best. But then also, so expensive to go to the Sphere. Just for this Darren Aronofsky film, if you wanted, even for a medium seat, it was $169 a person. And I was like, that's a lot of money to go see the Sphere. It doesn't even include food. So I'm not sure, but I am curious about the Sphere. I think it's very exciting. I think it's great for Vegas, but I don't know if I see the Sphere being everywhere. I see the Sphere maybe being just in Vegas, and maybe 2 or 3 other ones on the globe, quite frankly. Well, I already answered that. Fatine says, Grace, were you an NSYNC fan when you were a youngster? I think everybody loves NSYNC. Is there anyone who doesn't like NSYNC? Right? Jake Van Noren says, I already answered that. Let's see here. Chico, I don't think Taylor Swift is showing the concert movie to press because it's 3 hours. And also, people already saw the concert. So, the concert's already been reviewed. Jad, I don't think I'm going to review The Fall of the House of Usher, to be honest with you. I got other screeners to watch now, and I watched the first 2 screeners, and I have to tell you, I absolutely hated it. So I don't want to watch it. And so if you're really excited about The Fall of the House of Usher, do you really want me to Just sit there and say it was awful, right? And I don't think it's going to get any better. It's the worst thing that Mike Flanagan has ever made. I would say it's more American Horror Story is like a Succession ripoff. It's so lame trying to be like Succession. You're like, what is this? It's awful, in my opinion. I was surprised, but the review scores are high. So you might like it, but I personally, and this is speaking as someone who loved all the other Mike Flanagan shows, I thought it was unwatchable. Oh, let's see here. Diego, I'm not going to be able to review The Exorcist. Thanks for bringing it up. It's the press screening is tomorrow night. I still have some personal stuff going on that I'm dealing with. And then also the Ahsoka thing is tomorrow night. And I just couldn't make it work. I just couldn't make the timing work. So I'm like, darn it. And then at the end of the week, Loki and Gen V are dropping. And so I was like, it's just not going to happen. So I'm sorry. Frankenstein says, I know it's unlikely, but any chance for another Halloween special, like the one you did years ago at the Deadly Potion? Oh, I'm glad you liked that one. I got that wig online. It was crazy. And that dress, that was so fun to do. Sorry, Exorcist fans. I'm sorry. I feel bad. I got to do that because they let me film at the YouTube space. And so it's a lot of work to do something like that. You have to hire a film crew and stuff like that. So I don't have anything planned right now, but I'm really glad that you liked that. That made me feel very nice. Eric says, is it worse than Midnight Society? That's interesting. Midnight Society was the last Mike Flanagan show. I didn't watch that because it looked awful to me. So maybe it's equally bad. I don't know, but it's nowhere near The Haunting of Hill House or the other one in the middle or Midnight Mass. I loved those. This was awful. So awful. David says, if the only murders in the building finale is tomorrow. Although I wouldn't delay seeing Exorcist for something that I was watching for fun. Because I don't think I'm going to review Only Murders. I don't know. Because, I reviewed the whole season, like the first 8 episodes. Not a lot of interest in that online. But I have no idea who the murderer could possibly be. I have no idea. I'm very excited. I don't want it to get ruined for me. I'm nervous. Because it's going to go live like at midnight, right? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Love says, hi, Grace. I watched Kazazimoto after your interview with the creators of the show. What are your favorite episodes from the show? Oh, I'm so glad. Kazazimoto is the animated shorts out of Africa. And I was so honored to be able to interview the filmmakers. And so many of them were watched Beyond the Trailer or were familiar with it. And that was very humbling. I really liked, I liked the one with the girl who was going to get like to find out about her ancestors. It was like 2D animated. I thought that one was really good. And I thought the surfing one was excellent. I love that. And of course, the one about the herder, I thought was really particularly well done. Let's see here. Hold on, I'm catching up. Diva Minor, what a great name. I like your photo. It says, we saw the creator for my birthday. My son turned to me and said, I can't wait to see Grace's review. Don't watch it without me. That makes me feel so nice. Say hi to your son for me. Oh, what a sweetheart. That is really cute. I feel bad I didn't get to do a spoiler review, but those take hours upon it. Like, I'd say a spoiler review takes 5 or 6 hours to do, and just nobody's interested in the creator. Maybe I'll do a live spoiler review later this week to talk about it, particularly because I'm so moved by your story. But I love the fact that you watch this show, my show, with your son, and I love that you go to the movies with your son. My parents are the ones who got me into movies, and I wouldn't do what I do today if not for my parents. And I still go to the movies with my parents all the time. So that's just awesome. That's great. That was a great story. Oh, I missed some member chats. I'm going back. Oh, I did. Ace Wingate says, will we see Eras versus Renaissance at the Oscars? No, they're not gonna be at the Oscars. But that's fine. RC Frankenstein says, I know it's unlikely, but I already got that one. Oh, so I missed some other ones? Ace Wingate said, Beyonce is SAG. Is she able to do promotions? Well, maybe that's why she said December 1st. Also, I think Taylor Swift got a waiver from SAG, so it's fine. Juan Carlos says, will you add one day the TV series from iTunes on Movie Math? I think it shows a lot of interesting things like who's willing to pay rather than stream. I don't know. I don't know if we need an extra segment on movie math. I'll have to think about it. I see you asking it all the time, Juan Carlos, and I applaud. The squeaky wheel gets the grease, as I always say. But let me think about it. Kendi says, Akela is operating an industry with a white-centric agenda. For instance, black males limited by which actresses they can be with on screen. Well, Kendi, I do think that there's still work to be done in terms of representation, in terms of roles, for sure, in many areas. But I think that, seeing these kinds of developments is very encouraging. Lupita Nyong'o being in the A Quiet Place prequel, this is good stuff. Danny says, I just want to say that I'm excited to get my new badge in 2 months. I love all your content and reviews and breakdowns. Thank you, Danny. And I always love your comments. You always say very nice stuff on the stream. You're a great, positive member. Anthony, hey, what's going on at Marvel? Kang movie seems pointless. Don't think it's connecting. Or some shows, e.g. Wonder Man, getting scrapped. What's happening? I think they're doing a lot of restructuring. I haven't seen the end of Loki yet, but Loki kind of puts Kang back on the table. I will say that. Reese says, why doesn't the Marvels look anywhere near the visuals of Candyman? I'm worried about it, Reese. I've heard that there's a lot of cool stuff in the movie that they aren't showing in the trailers, so maybe we'll be really happily surprised when we see it. Steve, I missed your comment. I'm so sorry. Steve says, Grace, I've been watching you for over 10 years. You got me through so much. I watched your lives through auditioning for The Voice, and my episode airs tonight. Wow! Thank you so much, Grace. I'm not going anywhere. You helped me more than you know. That's exciting, Steve. Maybe someday we'll be talking about your concert movie. That's very exciting. Good luck tonight. Break a leg. Break a leg, Steve. I'm so excited for you, and thank you for telling us. Everybody, I'll try and DVR it because I'm going to be out tonight. But if you watch The Voice, look for Steve. That's great, Steve. Be sure to tweet me. Steve, if you tweet me something about your appearance with some graphics, I'll retweet it. Shahar says, Grace, the NSYNC fans are thrilled with your positive review of A Better Place. We are hyped for Trolls 3. We plan to make it a Barbie-type event. That's awesome. Yeah, I was just listening to it again last night. I like to listen to a song until I run it into the ground and I can't take it anymore. I did that with New York Groove. Now I'm like, I can't listen to it. I got to take a break. So my new song like that is the new NSYNC song. And I like the whistle. It reminds me of Kill Bill. Wasn't that in Kill Bill a little bit? The whistle, right? I'm like, doo, 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 doo. I love it. I'm having a good time. TuneDude19 says, will the SAG negotiations be quick or will the veto of unemployment pay to strikers put leverage back to the studios? No, because they're getting money, financial support from within the community. As I said before, TuneDude19 last week when the Writers Guild wrapped up their deal, I think that I think the actors will be done by the end of the month at the latest. Sean Molina says, why would HBO make a documentary about Elon Musk? Well, they're distributing it. Since J.K. Rowling gave Warner Brothers bad PR for her bigotry, it'll be very divisive. Well, they're just distributing it. And I think if it's fair, then just everybody will be upset with them. Let's see here. Joshua says, what makes the writing on a comic bad? What's the difference between that and a script or a book? When do you stop reading it? I'll stop reading a comic if the art is really awful. I'll stop reading a comic if it's not going anywhere. I'll stop reading a comic if it's too much writing, if it's overwritten. It's a visual medium. If I turn the page and it's just like a book, I'm like, I'm out. Although the new Tom King Penguin, I had to wait until I was in a good mood to read it, but it's actually pretty good. Tom King always does the same thing, but I kind of like it. He's particularly good for Batman. Not so good for Wonder Woman so far. But anyway, so those elements, and also I feel like it has to be going somewhere. I think it has to be not too intellectual. It has to have an emotional element to it. All right, am I all caught up here? Jake Van Norden says, did you see Carol's dress for the Marvels? I didn't see that she had a dress for the Marvels. I'm telling you, maybe the Marvels will be good. I don't have high hopes for it, but I'm open to being surprised. All right, let me get through these. I got to get going. I'm not going to be able to do shout-outs today. Dolan Rowell says, with these concert films, what other artists would you love to see on the big screen? I'd love a remastered release of Michael Jackson's Bad Tour. Well, let's see how these do. Right? Oh, Steve, you just got into comics. Oh, it's fun. I love comics. They're really great. When they're good, they're so good. It's a little bit of a tough time right now with comics, but, they're still enjoyable. Tiff says, would you ever stream a video game like The Last of Us? My dream content from you. Thanks. I actually don't own a video game system, so I'd have to buy a video game system. And, I can be pretty obsessive, like about things, like wanting to finish them. Like it's the reason I don't read long books, because then I just I read the book and I just don't do anything else, and I become very antisocial. So I like short form stuff. And I watch so many movies and TV shows, and I follow the news, and I read comic books. So I don't know if there's enough space for video games in there, but I appreciate your interest in my thoughts on them. Platinum Diva, I don't know what we're the same on, but I love your enthusiasm. Platinum Diva, you're another awesome member of the community. Whelm says, what do you think is going to happen with Jonathan Majors? It totally depends on that court date, man. And then Jacob says, will there be any Star Wars movie updates this year? I hope so. I mean, Kathleen Kennedy, she just seems to be waiting her contract out. Maybe that's intentional. Maybe. Mark Chapman, I don't know for sure what's going on with Severance Season 2. The rumor is that it's just a mess. Devin Henderson, I'm not going to watch Wheel of Time, Devin Henderson. I'm sorry. I'm so glad you're enjoying it, but I just can't go back, and I don't really want to watch it. I'm sorry. I'm going back. I think I got everybody. I got to get going. I wish that I could go back and get to everything, but I'm going to be late for this event that I'm going to this evening. So thank you, everybody. Hey, Roman, thanks for coming back in. Look at your ruby badge. Welcome back. So it was so nice talking to all of you. You guys are just the absolute best. And there will be probably another live stream tomorrow. But there will be 3 this week. There will be 3. All right, see you soon. Bye, everybody. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.